Okay, so what's going on, people? I'm going to try to do this review fairly quickly, but still give you the information that you need, right? Because I've covered a handful of these. I want to say maybe three, something like that in the past. So I don't feel, and they're old, right? So I kind of just don't feel like there's a whole lot of need for all the extra stuff. But we'll see what happens, right? So, quick little backstory. And in this particular case, I guess I don't really have to say it because I've already said it before. So there's that for you. I've been saying for a while that the React Presto was probably my favorite of the React family as far as, comfortability goes, but it might be these now. I'm gonna have to do a little comparison later. Maybe I'll even get a fresh pair of 87s or something to throw those in the mix. Not that I need one, but sometimes we make excuses to buy new stuff. But anyways, so these right here. This is obviously a pair of Element 87s. I think these came out early-ish last year, I want to say. I can't remember exactly. But I do remember them launching in a few colors that were pretty nice, and they weren't the easiest to get, some of them, but then the hype died down eventually. Actually, it might have been even longer, I don't know. But anyway, so top of the box right there, simple stuff. Then same on the side down here, more simple stuff, right? All the same things that you've seen a million times. But yeah, I do remember initially not caring for these because they just had a weird look to them. But you go with it sometimes and you just see how things work out for themselves because you can't always just judge the book by its cover, as they say. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get these things on out of here so we can move on into this. And I know these are called the Blue Chills, at least as far as names go, but color wise, this is black, cool gray, and blue chill. What do you know? Puts you in a very different mindset from those Jordan 1 Blue Chills that came out last year. So, looking over at these, everything's looking pretty good. So, let's go ahead and get this review knocked out on this right here, ladies and gentlemen, the Nike React Element 87 in the Blue Chill colorway. So, man, I kind of forgot how light these things can be. So, we're going to go ahead and start things off across the bottom as we generally do. So, there you have that, right? Pretty standard outsole, nothing too crazy about it. On the tips, on the forefront and the back, you have the extra red padding to kind of give you a little bit of durability because these did kind of run out on people when they first did the React systems on the soles. But that helps give you a little bit of longevity. And then from there, we move on to the midsole, right? So they're chunky style that you see on all of these. That big old React stuff going on down there. This one, it's just black. And then you get to one of my favorite things about this particular style, the toe box area. And let me you can kind of see into there. You see that they got the padding in there, you got all that stuff because it's a see-through sort of style, right? So you got that going on, which I think is kind of cool. For the most part, it kind of gives way up towards the back of the shoe. And then down here around the front area, you've got what would generally be like the plastic that kind of guards the front of the shoe. They don't really have that. They just have this extra thicker layer that's not so see-through. And then moving up across this whole mesh style thing, it's hard to describe what these feel like. It's kind of a mesh sort of feel, but it's not mesh. It isn't. And they've got a lot of extra stitching and fabrics laid on, but we'll get to that in a moment. So there you have that, the mesh style thing. Then across down around here, much like with those React Visions, a lot of layered on pieces of fabric. This one down toward the bottom, the black area feels kind of like a leather, whereas this one up here, the off-white beigeish color, feels more like a suede. Maybe a nubuck, not quite sure. And the one thing that I don't quite like about these is the laces. I might have said that before. These laces, they just feel weird. These don't feel as bad as some of the other ones, but they still don't feel great, right? It's just a very rough kind of feeling, and I don't really like it. And then in the middle of that area, holding in those weird feeling laces, is a pink patch on the tongue. So there's that for you, kind of matches up with that pink patch at the top. And then the other thing about the tongue is that it isn't really You can kind of see in there a little bit. It's not really held on by anything except for at the very bottom, so it can kind of move around and shift a little bit. So that's where this thing comes in handy. It's a weird thing, but I like how they changed that on the React Visions to lock it down with the straps. And anyways, moving on towards the back. So here we have this. This is that blue chill color going on. And this part is a little bit thicker than the rest of the shoe. Not super thick, it's just that the rest of it is so thin that any thickness is noticeable. So you got that going on, kind of a weird sort of feeling is on that as well. Almost feels like maybe like a paper bag, you know, like if you were at a grocery store or something. And then back here you got more of that stitching going on, kind of just to give it a little pop of color. I kind of feel like that's why they do a lot of this on these particular shoes, just to give it some different vibes, you know? Otherwise they could be very plain. And then moving around to the back, nothing too crazy going on back there. You got the pull tab and the Nike swoosh with a little bit of suede going on there too. So it feels nice though. Overall, visually, I do like the way these look. It's a shame that they likely won't be staying in the collection. I have enough of these, so these will probably be going to the brother, as I mentioned before. It's kind of a wear test sort of thing because I want to do a little comparison. So these will likely not be staying. Anyways, moving on to the inside, right? So the thing that I won't say it's probably my second favorite thing about this here, that cork insole, right? Because that thing, it's just kind of a cool touch to me. So you got that going on. I'll give you a little closer up look at that. But yeah, it's a nice touch. You don't really see it unless you're putting the shoe on or taking the shoe off. But it's nice to know it's there, I guess. So now that we've done that, I suppose we can move on and do the on-foot portion because I don't think I've left anything uncovered. I used to hear complaints once in a while in the past about how this part would kind of dig into people's ankles or whatever. I've never had that issue, but I mean, I also wear socks that come up just high enough to be above that, so that could be it, but just something to think about. Like I said, trying to get through this relatively quickly, but still give you the information you need. So there's that. Let's go ahead and get those videos in here, and then I'll tell you what these things feel like, what they fit like, all that good stuff. Cool? All right. Okay, so here's the thing, right? We're going to start with the sizing because I know that's what people mostly just want to hear. So, as usual, right? My sizing is generally a 9.5, but I like the 9s for the most part because they do usually give a snugger fit. But anyways, these wearing the standard 9.5, no problem. They fit just like I would expect them to fit. So if you are looking for a pair of these, go ahead, buy whatever pair or whatever size you would buy in any other Air Max or something like that, because to me, it's a true to size fit, much like mostly everything else. So there's that for you. Now, the comfort portion, right? So that's where things are different than what I may have said in a past review because other stuff has come along since then to kind of change my mind. So here's the thing, right? The React stuff, it's still super comfortable, right? I'm not going to say anything about that negatively. It's still great, right? But the thing is, the upper here, because it's a little different of a material, it doesn't give you that same comfort that you would get if you were wearing, say, like a React Presto or those React Visions, because it's just not a, it's just a weird material, right? You feel it when you're walking around. It kind of just doesn't feel as, it doesn't feel restricted, but it doesn't feel as loose either. So there's that for you. Is it a deal breaker? No, it's not. But if you're just gonna look and say, okay, well, which one is better? It's not this. Period, point blank. So for that reason, I would still recommend them, but not necessarily above other things. They do kind of make up for it by having the see-through stuff going on, because that's just kind of a cool little vibe. So you got to kind of look at it and see, well, what's most important to you, right? Also, there's always sales on these, so that could be a factor as well. But again, just the shoe for as it is comfortable, just not as comfortable as some of its brothers or cousins or however those shoes are related. So I think that is about enough to sum that up, right? Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Go ahead, have yourself a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. and come on back at some other point and I will have another video. But again, I'm not making you come back, but I'm pretty sure you will. So there's that. All right, later people.